We did a legendary finish tier listing all 92 legendary finishes in Dragon Ball Legends prior to the 8th anniversary. There's actually 92 legendary finishes, so I had to split this video into two. This is part one of a two-part series, and before you get into it, I just need to explain how I'm processing this tier list, because if you just looked at the finished product, you might genuinely think, what the hell? When considering where the units go in the tier list, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, disregarding who the character is and what happened in the moment and how I feel about it in the anime myself. So I am disregarding my personal feelings in this tier list. I consider everything: the animation, the effects that come out, the camera work, the sound effects, even how the devs incorporate the beams and the enemy in the animation. And I try to stay as consistent as possible, regardless of who the character on the screen is. Hopefully that makes sense. Enjoy the video. Before we start as well, shout out Astra Ryu. Literally uploaded every single legendary finish in Dragon Ball Legends landscape and done it proper.
Nothing I can do. You shouldn't have made me angry.
Beerus is good. I've always liked the colors on it. They can definitely upscale it. For one of the first legendary finishes in Dragon Ball Legends, like even the finish is super nice. They had his eyes closing like this early on, because they be upgrading the models with these. Loki want to see it again. The fact I'm going to have to watch some of these twice. Alright, for sure. I'm going to have to speed run some of these. I think it's a pretty easy decision. We're going to put him in alright. You know, it's very simple animation, but it does look good. It's just not great, if we're being honest. It's just good. This animation is short as hell. This is one of those ones where the moment would definitely be upscaling what the animation is. But the animation is like very basic. It's legit a blue card. If they made an animation like this with Goten, people wouldn't respect it, in my opinion. But I don't think it's bad, you know, for what it is, because we still have to consider the source material. I'm also going to put this one in just alright, but I do like his face here. I just feel like the model downgrades it now, especially because we have the Ultra Super Saiyan Goku. He's going in alright. I don't think he needs to go higher than that. Alright, let's look at Piccolo. The kicks.
Piccolo, do it! Special beam cannon.
Goku holding on to Raditz. The special beam cannon is actually really nice. Like, I really appreciate it. Alright, obviously because it's landscape, there's gonna be, it might look a little buggy in certain instances because this is meant to be on a phone. But I think in all, the addition of Goku is actually very touch. Like, it's a good touch. Obviously it's the source material, but the fact they've added it into the legendary finish, and the beam itself is actually really nice with the way they got the rings going around it. This one is generally one of the better ones. But people just don't care. Like, look at how fatigued Piccolo is as well. This animation actually has a lot going on. I am high-key putting this one in great. I actually think it's one of the better ones. Like, no joke. No joke. Alright, we got Super Vegito. Comes in right hook. Drags him down. They obviously went bigger when it came to Super Vegito here. I think there's a clear upscale in animation, especially based on the ones we just saw. I low-key might need a tier between alright and great. Because we're gonna fill up great so fast. There low-key needs to be a tier between these two. And let's make it orange, I guess. Yeah, that works. And I actually think Piccolo's is on the same level as Super Vegito. Just they were a bit more fancy with Super Vegito's in terms of the scale. But Piccolo's source material is actually very good for that early Dragon Ball Legends. I think they're both in the good tier. I think that's fine. First form Frieza, the knockback, the spin into the kick. I really like the camera work there. The dun dun, then the zoom out. The attack here is similar to what Beerus's one was, but I really like how they make Bardock fade out. I feel here, if they zoomed in and they made whoever it was smile every single time, I would put this in great. I think this is one of the better ones in good, but I'm not ordering it. If they zoomed in one more time, like there's a zoom here, right? You know when they zoom out here? But when Bardock's getting blown away, if they zoomed into his face as well and shown a small smile or something, this would have made this one great. But that part's kind of rushed. and they focus more on Frieza geeking out. And I'm not gonna lie, the animations are actually pretty good. This might be our first great. This one's actually pretty nice. Holy smokes. You know what? I'm also gonna add something right now. Hold on. Some of them are gonna be hard to decide. So, you know, when we get more people in here, I might be in the mood to, like, you know, move them up and down. So I'll come back to Frieza and then we'll clean it up at the end. Because depending on who's in great, I will have a better measure for who's in good and etc, etc. But I won't need one for down here, I don't think. So, like, he's in between. And then, yeah, you guys will have an opinion in the chat. That's also helpful. There's a lot. There's 90 to go through. Like, I can't sit here all day. They could have done so much better with the camera work. The models there with Goku and Gohan showing up is pretty good. But this is actually just the Kamehameha of Doom. This part here is actually really good. But it's very, very bland. Let's not do too much. Irrelevant. Straight up. I had the first Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. The zoom in here and the walk really upscales this animation. That walk is amazing. Even the beam there is, like, the way that it finishes off is similar to Goten's. It's just not slow.
I won?
The windscreen isn't that great. You know, I think this one is just a good. And the walk is what's upscaling this one big time.
Let's get down to it.
Alright, we got Vegeta dash down to the ground. This would hit different with ground battle animation, but it's not that good in my opinion. Honestly, I don't think this one's getting a better than alright for me. I'm looking at it, it's a punch. The dash down is the most creative part of this animation. And besides from that, it's just a bunch of spams. I don't feel like it's irrelevant. It's alright. It's alright.
There goes.
Margin Vegeta here. The start of the blue card is very good. They need to remake this high key. This is one of the better ones in my opinion. The final explosion in 2026 would be so good. And this touch here when he turns into, like, yeah. This one here is super tough. Like, the combo here even is underrated, and the way they move the camera about. The ray of light, farewell. Moment upscales it. If I'm not scaling moments though. If this was about the moment, this would be great. But it's not about the moment, so I'm keeping it in good. They could have made it a bit slower and added more theatrics to it and detail. Obviously, it's back in the day, and when they remake it, it will be insane. I know that for a fact. Starting in Super Saiyan 3, ripping off the shirt and then going into base is super tough. Push! Super Saiyan. Nowadays, they would have made the mouth move when he says see ya. This is another one where the moment upscales it. But I think they got a lot of mannerisms good with this animation. He comes in, there's effects that spark there when he takes that off, by the way. And I think they done really good with the facial expressions on this one. They had the screen shake there. You get 3 modes in one animation. You got Super Saiyan 3, you got base, and you've got the Super Saiyan. Also an outfit change because he rips off the top. The facial expression there for the ha is nice as well. And then back to the fatigue here, the showing of the fatigue. I'm not opposed to even put this in great, you know. You can see the sweat mark, the thumbs up. I'm not even opposed to that. This might be my first great. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a good one. Like, it's actually good. Oh, Bojack Gohan. I think this one, because we have the sparking, a lot of people like to downplay it. But I think there's a lot going on here that's super nice. It's just a very short-lived animation for the moment and its source material. This is what we should have had similarly. So, like, you know, the 2025 festival Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, we have Gohan falling to the floor after the animation fades out. But this is like the original of that. So look at this. We get the first black screens on the legendary finish, which is super, super nice. Impact, that's nice. The beam spinning, that is clean. The rocks are a little budget, but, you know. And I think the finisher is really nice where he falls back. This one for me, it's good at the moment, but it could hit great. I want to put it in great, but for now, you know, we're going to keep that on hold. I think that's another one that could move into hold. I'm not going to put it in great for now. I'm just going to keep it in good. I'm going to put it in hold because I feel like once we get further, it's not going to be that great. But there is a lot of detail for how early Dragon Ball Legends here was.
Evil shall perish.
Alright, CMZ swings in.
I'm not done.
The blade coming out is a really nice touch. The punch down. Oh, this way he does the dive bomb. Really fast swing down there. Like, it's super quick. Literal speed blitz, and the explosion is behind him. I think this one is really horrible. I might need to go back because there was a lot of combos and I didn't really break it down. He comes in with the swing. It's a little free piece there. And then they switch the camera angle for him to bring out the blade. Then he's swinging a bunch more. And they keep everything from a low angle when he's asserting his dominance. The model is also nice as well. You can see the nice touches. If we go back in, right, CMZ, now seeing CMZs and how much effort they put in, and I don't think it's that good. These guys can have a seat. These guys had good detail in them, right? Like theatrics. But CMZ was like a step up, but not far enough to step up where I even think it's great. Because these guys all had like their small little details with like Gohan fading in the back after being Super Saiyan 2, Frieza's laughing and whatnot, CMZ having the explosion behind him. They all have their little theatrics. But I feel like they're all good now, especially considering what we saw with Majin Vegeta and even the walk here with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So I'm going to put all of these in good. They kind of all feel in the same league, but not really like Super Saiyan 3 Goku where they put in so much effort with the transformations and the poses and the facial expressions.
Now I'm mad.
Got 8 Vegeta here. Comes in a headbutt and knocks down.
Behind you, fool. Burst open and mix.
This is one of those animations that's a victim to the source material. You're not going to see a bunch of sparks flying because it's Saiyan Saga. But I think the addition of the Great Ape definitely upscales how valuable this animation is as a LF. Even the beam at the end is huge. That's tough. I think that's tough. They low-key baited me there. Like, he literally knocked him down, and even I thought he was gonna come from above, and I just watched it. This model right here, where he has the fangs, white eyes, is a good, nice touch to show the transformation. Yeah, I think this could be great, honestly. It's just that it doesn't have the effect, so a lot. Oh, wait, I didn't see that before. Can you see the spiral? This is like what they did with Super Saiyan 2 Bojack Gohan, but there's even a greater model in addition for the legend. Oh, yeah. That sealed the deal. Is even lightning here? I never saw that. They cooked. Alright, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. The run up, right hook, right leg, sorry. Came down from above. Another punch. And how did I never notice that? There's like a ray. The impact was so tough. They give you a beam. The dragon carries big time here. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That roar is flipping tough. Ooh, even the red that comes off him. All the red here is fire. It's fire. This one's very simple and easy to see that it's great, and it's based in the dragon. The combos, we've seen regular combos like that even in CMZs, but the dragon is definitely an upscale for what we've seen in the animation. The way it bursts out into flames and then roars at you. Yeah, you're just cooked. You're just cooked. Another great one, easily. Some units might get upscaled as we go further into this, so, you know, depending on how we feel, because we gotta have some 10 out of 10s.
You cannot escape. Take
The first Rose.
my blade. It's over.
I've always loved the fluidity in this animation. I like how right there they showed you different angles of the explosion. They replayed it 3 times. Like, we've seen that in UI Goku's legendary finish, but it's very subtle. You don't even realize it. Blow up, blow up, blow up. They showed you in 3 different angles, and then they got him tweaking here. His mouth doesn't move much because it's an older animation, but like when he's bringing out the scythe, that's tough. This could easily be a 10 out of 10. If we rate it in isolation, this could hit 10 out of 10. The colors are booming. The aura is booming. The model is great. The fluidity is one of the highest in Dragon Ball Legends to date at this point. If they just showed like the, you know, when Goku Black uses the scythe and it like opens up space. If they showed that, I think that would finalize it. And then they just niced him with the windscreen. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the better ones. I'm gonna leave him right now on hold based on when we see guaranteed 10 out of 10s. But it's definitely better than everyone we've seen thus far. It's just way too far back for Dragon Ball Legends. Full power Frieza. The aura on him is really good there when he charges in. And they do it again here. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of underappreciate, and I don't intend to highly appreciate them more. But when they just have the camera still and they just like do left rights, left rights, left rights, I'm not moved. I don't know, man. I'm not moved. Maybe it kind of feels lazy, kind of. It's not because it's the source material to a degree, but I'm not moved by it. They got the angle there really well, and the beam is huge. Alright, there was a lot going on, but I don't feel like it was a lot that's insane. They're just kind of bouncing you all over the place, and he's doing a lot. But nothing super unique or special in my opinion. Just a lot. The beam is really nice though. This is one of the better beams in Dragon Ball Legends. When they do them huge like this so you really feel how powerful it is, I think they're doing a great job. The windscreen is good as well. I'm just gonna put this in good.
Time ended.
UI Goku. Alright, the black screen there that we saw. Now, I know I did just say when there's just a bunch of punches coming forward, I'm not moved. But this is actually an exception based on them implementing after images. If they just used these two fists, I wouldn't be moved in the slightest. But the after images really add that extra effect of greatness to this animation. Oof, even there, the gust of wind in the end, right before he finalizes the punch. The last big one. There's so many good details in this animation for how old it is. It's crazy. Hey, the devs went so hard on this guy. Hold on. You're not even peeping so much that went on. So he's doing all the jumps, right? And let me straight up say, this guy is privileged based on his source material. The source material allows him to be great, but they've actually done a great animation here. We're not judging the moment, we're judging the animation. If there was ground battles here, or this was like post 5th anniversary, like the Gold Frieza animation, they would have put rocks. They would have put rocks on this animation, and he would have done it. No, they would have made the enemy throw some type of beam, something. I said rocks. And there's, look, I don't know if you can see, but there's more after images, which is why I'm giving him the exception when I'm not really moved by just punches, you know. It makes the speed blitz a bit better than any other speed blitz. Like, for example, we saw with CMZ, it's just a quick dash down. But if there was an after image following him, you'd be like, oh crap, that's a good display of speed. You know what I'm saying? That's animation. The replay free time is super tough as well, similar to what we saw with Rose. The beam is huge again. That's a super big win. And the glare here, I think this is our first 10 out of 10. And honestly, I think the production level of this animation is on the same level as the Rose we saw, like realistically speaking. If we're avoiding the moment, the fluidity of the animations are on the same scale. There is a lot more theatrics with UI, so I'm going to keep Rose on hold. But with the aura, it's built the same way. He has the purple. This is just white because it's UI. The models are great. There's the facial expressions and whatnot. These ones are performing on the same level. In fact, I'm going to move them up straight away. We're going to have a lot of 10 out of 10s. Right now, I've got UI above this because there's a lot more like theatrics. And like I said, he is privileged to have great source material, but the legendary finish animation is super, super good.
I'm ending this.
Future Gohan. A lot of people hate on this animation. Hold on.
I'm ending this.
Am I tripping to say that that's bad? He kicked up, but he went down. I'm tripping?
I'm ending this.
The slam down here is good. Those flips was so extra, but it's fire. One hand Kamehameha. Puts in extra pain for the Kamehameha. It's very powerful.
It's over.
It's a very powerful moment. I think it has a lot more theatrics in it based on the flips and the combo, but it's nothing great. It's nothing great, you know? I'm just gonna put this in alright. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Alright fits. It's definitely better than Gold 10. I don't think it's irrelevant. The flips niced him. You take away those flips? Nah, there's no limited amount of 10 out of 10s. If they're 10 out of 10, they're 10 out of 10. Simple as. SSBE Vegeta. The punches being so slow always threw me off. It's not an issue, right? But so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he slows down even more to do heavier punches. But then when we get to Toppo's angle, right, or Vegeta's first person angle, the punches are all the same speed. I think they could have put a bit more there, but it's still good. The purple background here and the electricity is a very nice touch to this legendary finish. And then the yellow slightly comes in, then it engages and locks in. His model change here is a really nice touch going into base and the sparkles. It's super nice. There's not a lot going on, but you know, he just did a final explosion and tanked that. Gust of wind. Even Toppo's all shaky and stuff. I think that's a nice touch. Even the beams, like it's the circles, like all of these are rotating, sorry. The zoom in there is a nice touch as well. I don't think this one is like it's the same as the final explosion, the other one. They belong in the same tier.
I don't think so.
Alright, Vegeta blue. The punches here. Just cool. This is also like a privilege of the source material, but they've done it a bit worse than Piccolo's special beam cannon, if I'm being real. So if you remember Piccolo's special beam cannon, it had the rings following the beam because that's how the special beam cannon is. The final Kamehameha, because it's meant to be like Final Flash and Kamehameha, there's the yellow rings that follow the Kamehameha, but I feel like it's not super high quality right here, even though it's a nice touch. Like here it's coming in strong. Him coming up and the instant transmission is nice gimmicks.
Now you're finished.
The angle there is super good and the explosion is nice. There's like a huge ring going out. And then more theatrics. The one thing I always give this animation props for, again, it's a downside that there was no ground battles at this time, but him sliding on the floor, could you imagine if there was a floor there? He's sliding on the floor and the camera just goes in out.
Is that it?
It's not really like anything spectacular, like in the grand scheme of things. They did do really good with the camera work, but it's more theatrics for the moment. If he was landing on the floor, this would be great, but I'm gonna put it in good.
Is that it? Some god you are.
Kid Buu banging on his chest, comes in with a kick. The stomps, his feet coming up from the ground. Good creativity there. Like it's added well into the game. Then he just loads up a explosion. Does everything blow up, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, the whole planet's gone. And then he regenerates in space. I'm not gonna lie. Hold on. We might have to rewatch this. The bang on the chest comes in with just a kick. Hold on. It's still pulsating. It should have like dissipated and he loads another one. Unless like I'm remembering, like he just loaded one on top of another. So it goes into the ground. And also what I noticed is they stopped using the Goku model. So there's no like struggle or anything of the person that's underneath. Once they get hit with that first one, they just are not in the animation anymore, which is kind of a downside. But what are they gonna do? It's Kid Buu. I think the idea in whole is super creative, like super creative, right? But I don't know, they kind of lacked on camera work and things like that. I don't think it's great. It's just in the good pile. But I do like it a lot. I think it's very creative.
You're gonna pay!
OG Bardock. That would have been nice on the floor. The Super Saiyan out into the smoke. The shadow. This is the camera work that we saw in Vegito Blues. You know when it's like tss, and he's sliding? It's very similar. Bardock's doing his slow walk. The aura is nice. The flip, the camera work here is really nice. They did no cuts here, by the way. That's the first cut right there after he goes Super Saiyan. One thing I don't like here is the beam is very skinny. Here it's big, but you don't really see it. You're just engulfed in it in entirety. Honestly, in the way they incorporated the Super Saiyan aspect, this one is a greater one. This one's going in great. I think it's on that same tier. Very, very stylish with the way they implemented the Super Saiyan. A tier above these ones, in my opinion, because of how they went about approaching Super Saiyan, considering that the Legends Limited is only base form, which is a shame, but we're talking about the animation and the walk. It's like a better Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the red one.
You asked for it!
Ah, Blue Bros.
Let's do it, Vegeta!
The aura on these guys and landing in is fire. The combos, like, I've spoke about this one so many times. Coming in, they both kick. They're comboing. Vegeta realizes that Goku's punching him and he's gonna send him up to Vegeta, and Vegeta's already ready. Knocks him back down and catches him on an uppercut, and then they both come in for a volley. Then they swing round, go back to back for the Gallic Gun and Kamehameha. And this is what the final Kamehameha should have kind of looked like. So you can see how their beams have joined together, so there's yellow and blue on the inside. The ring should have been higher quality on the Vegeta blue. Could have put him into great. The camera work here is elite. The windscreen is elite.
You were no match for us after all.
It's one of the better ones, and privilege to the source material, but the animation is honestly just a league above what we've seen so far. I think it could compete with UI Goku, so for now I'm just gonna put it above. I'm gonna keep it above. This is just Vegeta's angle. Alright, Super Saiyan full Gogeta.
Too slow.
The TPs, the elbow, the kick. This is another instance of like good animation, similar to what they did with UI Goku with the after images. So to show you like this guy's moving quick, when he does the kick, they put a gust of like color to show you it was quick. It was quick.
Here I come. Here.
The aura here is like obviously nice because it's G4's model, but it's something a lot of legendary finishers have had. Very creative there with the zigzag and the drop down. He actually zips down and then zips back up. Like, it's very subtle. Then he goes back up really fast into a punch. Knocks him back down.
100 times. Big Bang Kamehameha. Now that's what
I think this one has a lot of privilege in the sense that G4's model brings him a nice color palette for you to look at, but the animation itself wasn't all that great. For example, if you just imagine this is Frieza. He comes in really fast and he elbows and does a kick. Now this part is where the color palette kicks in because of the red and the orange. The zigzag is fire, I'm not gonna lie. But it's really just a punch and a knockdown into a Big Bang Kamehameha. It's more privilege of being Gogeta than the animation being phenomenal. But I will not lie, the beam is amazing. And then the finisher is obviously nice, but we've seen this with Super Vegito as well. I wouldn't really say this is a great animation. I would say this is a good animation when you really break it down. If you're not judging the moment and just what you've seen, I don't think this is on par with like the Dragon Fist Dragon. It might actually be. I'm gonna put it on hold. I'm gonna leave it on hold right there. We got Broly. Alright, Broly's one. We've just seen him throw so many punches. It's tiring. But the color palette here that they've implemented, not on his build, I'm talking about with his attacks. That is nice. Look at that. They start off the screen purple and bring in that circle. That is tough. The beams when he knocks him up, There's a bunch of knockarounds here. This burst of aura is similar to what Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's has. It's just that it's green, which is a very nice thing here. Right hook. I think with the way they finished off the animation, they kind of cheaped out. It was going really well, but the ending isn't as strong. He just starts screaming, and you don't really see the explosion of the enemy character in it. You just see the explosion itself, and the screen goes red. Legendary finish pops up, and then he starts screaming. I do think this one is like great, but it's somewhat no, it's definitely better. It's definitely better. There's a lot more going on. This one's great. This one's easily great. If you really break it down for the colors that they use and the way that they've shown the explosion, the burst of energy, it's just like Gogeta's to a degree, but it does more. It does more. Literally, the color palette is saving Gogeta. He might actually still hit great, but there was a lot less going on in this animation, especially following up with Broly right after. Like, I think there's a clear difference.
Try this.
Perfect cell. The knockback. Now, this really shows, in my opinion, a bias in how people would vote. But this animation finishes worse. So I'm not going to say that in entirety. But I remember this animation here. People saw it. The knockbacks are whatever. We've seen that with almost every single character. But the zigzag here, I think it's implemented in a cooler way. Because he's zigzagging while attacking. Then he also zigzags into the sky. So there's like a pure sense of direction. Because we can see Gohan's model while Cell's attacking. In comparison to G4's legendary finish, they just put a blue background in the back, and then he's zigzagging for no reason, just to aura farm. But there's more intention with this animation, which is what makes it better in that aspect. But then he flipping sells the animation, if my memory is correct. So they land here, right? This is aura. Landing there after you just bullied him is flipping aura. But then they sell it so bad. They could have made him power up so much more for this Kamehameha. Then they give you the skinniest beam you've ever seen ever. This could have been so much better. It had potential to be great. Potential to be so great. But they sold it. So it's going in good. It's a half-baked G4 animation. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad how half-baked that animation is. Who's this? Dragon Fist? Oh yeah. There's a lot to say about this animation. There's a lot to say and perspectives you can take about this animation. But it's definitely two factors that do this animation a big one to enter the 10 out of 10 realms, in my opinion. So first of all, I just want to say the intro, they've kept it short because it's not about the combos. I don't want to see pointless punches. Nobody wants to see that. We're here to see the Dragon Fist. They come in, quick kick. Let's load in the Dragon Fist instantly. No delay. They load in the Dragon Fist. And the main complaint people have about this animation is that it's the summon animation. But if you've never seen the summon animation, this is a 10 out of 10 animation. There's no comparison here. It's not about the moment. It's about what we're seeing on the screen. And what we're seeing is an amazing animation. The dragon spins, then it swirls in, grabs the enemy, right? So you still see them on the screen. They've still got them. So what a lot of legendary finishers forget about is once the big attack starts, they just make the model disappear. But you can still see, obviously in this case it's Kid Buu, you can still see Kid Buu in the dragon's mouth. Then he does the extra swirl and you see all the flames. And they even slow it down for you to understand the attack is that powerful. And then we get one of the best finishes for all legendary finishes. The Dragon Fist, Superman pose, whatever you want to call it, All Might, the stand of victory. With the sparkles, we haven't seen sparkles like this on the final pose since like, the most recent one is like Gamma's 1 and 2. This is an easy 10 out of 10. Sword of Hulk Trunks. Double slash, triple slash. Key blast that never worked. Those key blasts did nothing. Zamasu literally just pushed through them. but good animations going on. They're showing you an actual fight scene. A lot of legendary finishes don't really give the opposition a chance to do anything. They just throw out the big attack. But in this case, they're creating a scene for you, where Zamasu seems to be on the aggressive in addition to Trunks' attack. The flips there are nice. The black screens to show the emphasis on the slashes. Remember when I showed you Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's, when he done the kick, you see the red show up to show the speed of the slash, but they've even blacked out the screen to add emphasis, and they've kept the X marks the spot because he done a double slash.
Everyone,
the Sword of Hope loads up, goes blue, gets the blue aura, big addition.
Zamasu dies today.
Zamasu dies today. Triple slash. The gust of winds are really nice. I always appreciate those. It's very subtle there. It was only there for a split moment. You see the Super Saiyan 2 Bojack Gohan beams, they slightly rotate as well. They implemented that very subtly. Explosion goes off.
Thank you.
Eyes closed, solemn. Honestly, it's a very good animation. This one hits great, even though they create a scene. I'm trying to think what it lacks for it to not be 10 out of 10, because I can say it's not 10 out of 10, but why is it not 10 out of 10? I think they done a lot to be a 10 out of 10. The sword went from yellow to blue. They added an extra aura on Trunks. They created a fight scene. The flips, the animation, there's fluidity in all the actions. They've implemented the black screens.
Come on, guys. Zamasu dies today.
Honestly, if they made this Vegito, just imagine Vegito instead of Trunks, and they made the sword that big, this would be in people's mouths. Gobble, gobble, gobble. I'm gonna put this on hold. I think the animation is actually pristine. It's just that people are not wooed by the moment. But for what it is, this is an elite animation. The explosion is huge. The real question would be with this animation, as a legendary finish and its animation quality, why is it not a 10? And it's very difficult to answer that question. You can say it's not a 10 out of 10, but you can't say why, because it does everything that it needs to do to be a 10. The source material is done very well. I just feel like people are not moved. People are not moved by the moment. Jiren's coming in. I've always found Jiren's legendary finish weird. And I know it's like this in the anime. It's like, it's very static, but it's done intentionally. They've created a fight scene again here. The orange circle for the attempt to block, but Jiren ain't having that. This would look amazing on ground battles. Look at this. Boof, boof, boof. This would look elite on ground battles. The destruction on the ground on ground battles. Oh my god, that would be so good. Too bad though. They put a lot of emphasis in this animation for how the opposition is getting booted around the place. Like, there's less animation here for Jiren versus the person who's getting knocked around. Look at this. They're getting volleyed. You're not seeing much from Jiren. The person is like, oh no, another attack. Ugh. They're animating the enemy more than Jiren. Bro. Turned him into Bakugo here. He's floating. Bro, it's literally the enemy's animation. Am I tripping?
It's over.
More enemy animations! Jiren's doing nothing! It's not even a bad thing. It's like he doesn't have screen time in his own LF. I never noticed this.
Be gone.
But it's great. Like, it's actually good.
Goku.
The reason this is not a 10 is because they don't have enough Jiren screen time. Show him aura farming or, like, you know, turning around or something, you know? You're just animating a dead body. It's a good animation though. It's actually on the better end. But they're dead just animating a dead body. Alright, Gogeta blue. Left punch. Another stomach punch. Very privileged animation here based on the source material. The rings are very nice. I didn't even notice he done a backflip there. Did you guys know that? Look at this, look at this. Look at him. He kicks him up I never noticed that. I never noticed that. Yo.
Here goes. Get out of here.
The angles are phenomenal. And even here, you're engulfed in the blue beam. The colors are crazy. The models are crazy. The impacts are crazy. Look at this. You know when animes do the circle, like when they send Team Rocket in the sky in Pokemon. And they didn't even use that for the final. They just said, oh, that's just a part of it. This, guys are gonna hate me. This is the same explosion as Sword of Hope Trunks. It's the same thing. It's just yellow. But like I said, some people are not moved by the moment, but the legendary finish, this segment here is the exact same explosion as Sword of Hope Trunks. The color there was like a sunset for how powerful his own explosion was. You can see he goes orange. He's dead serious about it too. The blue beam in the eyes. The Kamehameha. And another moment that you want to pick out here. If you look behind him, there's even gusts of wind. He's generating his own tornado behind him based on his Kamehameha. The 360 spin, extra theatrics. We've seen that countless times, but it's beautiful.
Let's do this again.
The glow in the hair, the smile, the colors. This one is obviously a 10 out of 10. I think it's the best animation we've seen so far, honestly. Everything that every other animation is good for, this one perfected it. They have the enemy getting fried, the beams, the colors, the camera spinning. It's all around great.
So you'd better make this fun.
Tag droids. I really like the way Android 17 rolls in.
Ready? Let's go, 18.
Yeah.
The way they like merge there has always got me. I think it's a very nice touch.
Ready? Let's go, 18.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. People are gonna hate me for this as well.
Go, 18.
People are gonna hate me for this as well. But if Blue Bros did this, gobble, gobble, gobble. If you just show them blue lines behind their body when they're moving fast and Blue Bros, people will glaze.
Yeah.
The knockaround, look, similar thing. They get knocked. 18 takes a lower position for 17 to sneak, and then they do the combo together, and then they prepare for the next thing. If Blue Bros did that with just their blue aura and the blue lines coming behind them, people will start glazing. But it's the same thing. It's like very similar things.
Time to end this.
I think this final like angle is really nice, especially to the source material.
It was fun.
The only thing I will obviously, this
sucks
is not
to be-
as good as Blue Bros animations, but you guys can't explain why. I know why. The reason this animation is worse than Blue Bros, right? And it's not getting a 10 out of 10, it's gonna get a great. The reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because the camera work was mediocre. They did not implement enough camera work where Blue Bros are flying around and you're watching the camera chase them. In this one, they kept it very static, and that's what downscales it. But in terms of what's actually happening, it's very similar to Blue Bros. Like, if they were doing this and the camera was going, this would be a 10 out of 10. But there's no camera work.
Time to end this.
This part here is
fun.
really nice. But you know, give them camera work, that's a 10 out of 10. But it's going in great. MUI Goku. Spin into the kick, the lines.
Everything I've got.
Is there after images? No after images. No after images.
Possible. This is it.
No after images. This part where he speeds round him carries this whole animation. Oh my god. This animation, hold on.
Possible.
The explosion is really good, I'm not gonna lie.
This is the power of trust.
This animation, if they added simply after images to every single flow of motion of MUI Goku, it would be a 10 out of 10. If we're seeing lines behind him, I'm using my fingers like you guys can see. If you could see lines behind him of after images, it would be a 10 out of 10. But the lack of after images, like, he's moving very fast to the point Jiren can't fathom it. But then it just feels bland when it's meant to be Ultra Instinct Goku. You're meant to show the display of speed. There's nothing emphasizing that MUI Goku is the fastest right here. It's just good aura, white hair, and he's shirtless. And they tried to bait us with they did do the after image lines. So they need to display the speed. Look, how is he moving that fast, but there's nothing? This is cool as well. I think this is the only time we see an after image, and it's very, like, you can barely notice it. Your naked eye can barely notice that. Let me even slow it down to see if it's possible. They don't even have an after image there. It's meant to be Ultra Instinct, you know? Like, I'm actually in position to put this in good. I think it's plain for one of the most, like, fantastic forms we've ever seen. Yeah, there's no after image. It's such a letdown from what we saw with the UI sign. The only display of speed they literally have in this animation is the blue lines to show you that he outsped. But if they just added after images, it would 10x this animation. Regardless, if we ignore the moment, so there's no after image where there could have been, that downscales it. And then I think most of it is just being lots of knockdowns, you know, just a bunch of punches all around the place. It's not moving people that much, but the Kamehameha is pretty good in my opinion. And then the voice line also sells him.
This is the power of trust, Jiren.
You were fighting him by yourself. What are you talking about trust for? You took the whole tournament taking risks because you wanted to get UI. You greedy. Talking about trust, bruv. Goku's always lying. Let's get into Trunks, bro. There's a lot of creativity in this one. Off memory, it's similar to how I would scale Kid Boo's one. The slicing of the screen really upscales it, and they get right into the business.
Goku isn't the only Super Saiyan.
With a lot of these legendary finishes, they add random punches all over the place just to make you feel like something is happening. But with Trunks' animation, it's straight in and busy, and he slices Frieza, and you see the screen literally start. Then he just finishes him off quick time, and he puts the sword away. Honestly, it's not a 10 out of 10. If we were talking about the moment, sure. But the animation itself, I'm putting it in good. It's good. If they wanted to upscale it, they could have added aspects of what we saw in the superhero movie. So like they could have sped it up, even shown like they could have added a funny moment of them watching it on the TV. Trunks is going crazy. Like, you know, they could add lots of theatrics if they wanted to remake it and upscale it. Just my own personal thoughts.
Kill them all!
Final form Cooler. The knockarounds or whatever, again, like, it's cool.
I will end this.
This is where the thing actually happens. Honestly, I think he's a victim of his source material. The only thing that made this animation really cool is his pose at the start. This. The knockarounds are just whatever. If this was ground battles, there would be a wall here, which would make it better, of course, but we don't have that. And this rise, we saw it with tag droids, right? The tag droids part. You know, I'm messed with Final Form Cooler, but the animation is like, this is mediocre. Putting in alright.
Into the line.
Now, the knockarounds or whatever, I've been saying this the whole thing, they're just putting in filler punches for the animation. But one thing I will give respect to, another thing I can make an exception for, is when they keep the camera still. If you're gonna knock somebody around, keep the camera still. Don't cut it. Don't cut it. The cameraman is live. I'm live streaming this fight. He's live streaming this on Twitch. He said, yeah? I like that. I like those animations. Don't cut it. Don't cut it. At least they don't cut it.
Finish this. Special beam cannon.
The special beam cannon is very beautiful.
Special beam cannon.
The rings around the straight. Honestly, looking at this further, this looks worse than Piccolo's special beam cannon. No BS. They just put a blue line in the middle. This is basically Ultra Ink. Is this a legend animation? Like, actually looking at it, this is not a good beam. Like, fair enough, there's the electricity before, so I'll give it to him with the red, and the generation is good. Okay, it gets upscaled with some red lightning, but they're still trying to, like, they're trying to finesse you here. If you pause it for any moment, you just see white lines. Like, there's not enough detail in the beam for me. I can see it's a special beam cannon, though. Blue Beast, I'm gonna put him on hold. He might enter good, depending on how things go.
It's over.
Tag 4s. Right hook. This is an angle we haven't seen before from the side. They come into pause first person. Again, they're doing the Blue Bros thing, but the camera work is just significantly worse. Lovely. I love the live stream, bro. I love the live stream, bro. Yeah? No cuts. No cuts. We're just moving. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah! Cameraman, good job. I like that. The green and blue is really nice. Unique way finished legendary finish. It's not something we've seen before. They damn near beam clashed to finish Omega. That is crazy.
I knew we could do it.
And then the aura farm, but that's just like privilege to their you know, models. This one's going in great. They added a little unique twist and the camera work was good, just like the tag droids.
It's over.
Trunks and Vegeta.
Eat this.
Masenko.
Do this together.
See?
I'll help you.
Wait! Ah, this guy, bruv. This guy's trying to make a YouTube short.
Do this together.
This guy said, yeah, I'm gonna record. Hold on 1 second. What are you doing? Why are you cutting it? Why are you cutting it? Why are you cutting it? Keep the camera on the cast. You need to keep the stream up. Why is he cutting it, man? It makes the animation so buns. Like, that, it was going so well. Trunks came out of nowhere. He said, hee. Come on, man. It had so much potential.
I'll help you out.
If Vegeta came in one more time, it would have been perfect. Again, people try similar downscale because of some of them animation, but the colors here are amazing. Very evidently, this is not on the same level as tag droids and tag 4s, and it's 100% worse than Blue Bros. So we're putting that in good. For a tag unit, they should be reaching great, but that's poor, man. MVP 17. Let me go back on that. Hold on. There's a slight cut there. Do you know what's funny about this guy's beam? Like, as in MVP 17's? This beam is just the start of his animation. But this is literally the accumulation, the whole total of some people's legendary finishes. Do you know how bizarre that is? Look at the sparks. This is just the start of his. But this is some people's whole LF. Black bars to hone in on the eyes. Nice. Color change. Source materials busting him here. Helping him a lot. Oh, the red screen in the back. That's not something we've seen to contrast the green in this animation. This is CMZ. CMZ, but MVP 17 is facing towards Jiren. But they're just a bit more theatrics with it.
This is the power of...
And I really like how on the finish, oh, there is a cut. They didn't need to cut there, man. Stay on stream. Look, if they just went legendary finish fades and they just smoothed it out, you know, they smoothed it out into his face, that would have been mad. It would make a big difference. It would make a big difference. We're gonna put it on hold. We're gonna put it on hold. No, actually, it's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. Rev UI. Another failed opportunity to show after images. Is there gonna be any here? Another failed opportunity to show after images.
I'm fighting for...
Is there any here? You're getting carried by the fact your UI, bro. I do like this legendary finish personally, but this animation sucks. This is not great, fam. I'm actually not gonna lie. This is alright. He's getting carried by the fact he's UI.
I'll make my stand against it. You power up.
Alright, we got Boo
Let's
Bros.
go.
We'll count that part, I guess.
Let's go. Kamehameha. Into the line.
The two like zoom in Kamehameha, the beam's big, but it's just the Kamehameha. However,
There. I sure.
this is the only reason I'm putting it in alright and not irrelevant. Because of the split screen, they go in alright. That is saving them. But if there wasn't a split screen, it's irrelevant. The split screen is respectable. You know, it's something. But it's not a good LF.
Sure kept you waiting. Sorry about that, Vegeta. They won't be
Little
next
interaction
time.
too. Go Frieza, we're here. Literally just did Boo Bros animation for just the blue card. You're trolling. I did rocks before the ground battle. Respectable. Very good scene. Purple background. We've seen this in SSBE Vegeta's animation. Do not be confused. We've seen this before. The background. Just saying.
Oh yeah!
Launches him. The purple aura is nice. Combined with the flashing. That is beautiful. Do you say mouth movement? Ooh! Bonus points. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Good shout export. I did not see the mouth movement. That's a very big plus.
Oh yeah!
It's 1-to-1 with him speaking.
Frieza, we did it.
This is all round a 10 out of 10. They got mouth movements. There's not special auras because they're literally in their base forms, but this is final form, I guess. You get the purple, you get the yellow. The flashing of Goku's hair going black and yellow is very, or black and gold is very nice. This part here contrasting is very nice. But I kind of feel like the reason I'm putting this on hold. No, for what it is, it's a 10 out of 10. But I'm mentioning the source material, and I'm not supposed to do that. I was almost biased for a second. I'm not supposed to consider the moment. I'm not supposed to. It's a 10 out of 10. There should be Jiren's POV. Remember how I mentioned in some animations, they literally forget about the opposition. They don't like do much with the opposition's body. So Goku and Frieza are going in, right? You get a lot of focus on them, but this is a moment where they were taking out Jiren. So Jiren's body is there, but they show no close-up of the enemy in this moment. The source material, you should have a close-up of the enemy, but that doesn't matter for how good this animation is. That's what I want to say. Look, you just get a close-up of Goku and Frieza, but there should be a close-up of who you're opposing as well, at least so they're getting knocked out. Then you just get another close-up of Goku and Frieza. That's what downscales it if you're considering the source material. You think it's a limitation? Nope, they've done it before. In Jiren's LF, the antagonist has more screen time than Jiren. So they're capable of doing it. And there's a lot of LFs that we see where there's both. It's a good mix. But this is a 10 out of 10 regardless. I just realized I wasn't ordering them. Dragon Fist is better than Rose. Gold Freeze is better than Rose. And I'm keeping it like that for now. I might adjust later.
I got you.
Orange Piccolo. 3-piece extension of his arm. That's very creative. Boom!
Nowhere to run.
Again, showing you like aspects of this animation. Could you imagine, yeah, if they put us in a first-person view or just a slightly above angle of Piccolo's arm and the cameraman didn't cut and it's closing in, and when it grips his leg, we're with the arm. Could you imagine if the cameraman don't cut the stream, how good this animation could be? That's the stuff that gets me. The cuts are cool though. It's a very creative angle. I didn't know this was One Piece. I didn't know this was JJK. Impact Piece. I didn't know. That was a crazy pause right there. Alright, now let's look at this special beam cannon. The direction they've taken with their special beam cannons, this is just like the blue beast. However, they changed the color scheme. So the initial beam is green instead of white, and this is orange, and it's just a bunch of like, I don't want to say scribbles, but it's not like the original one from Saiyan Saga. Do you know what I'm saying? I prefer the original one low-key because it kind of feels like a beam, but they could smooth it out with their new ones. I kind of want to get to Red Beast to have like a comparison in mind. And it cleans out here when it impacts. Little glitch at the end there. LR Super Goji. Oh, hold on. Is this Dokkan? My fault.
Take care of the doctor.
Shenron gave me quite a bit.
Windscreen's pretty weak. I think this is just good. It's just good. No. This is actually better than Beast. I'm putting this in great. Now that we go back to the tier list and we have like a measure, there's a lot more creativity with the arm stretching with Orange Piccolo. It really is better than Beast. So now I can put this in great, and this can really see good with no bias. I'm glad I kept him on hold because the moment can really set you apart, but the animation isn't, you know, that far apart. And a lot of people get wooed by the character, but not me. I see everything today. I'm still stuck on G4 though. I'm thinking of putting him in good, honestly, but I'm gonna hold him there. The Gammas 1 and 2. Good gust of aura here. Hits the sky. Much better than what Boo Bros had, by the way. Light years better of animation than what Boo Bros had when they do the prep time. Vegeta, like, come on, bro. The aura here is looking really good. This is reminiscent of Blue Bros color pattern because you know how we have Vegeta Blue and Blue Bros where they incorporate the final Kamehameha or the Gallic gun and the Kamehameha with the Blue Bros animation, and you see the blue and the yellow. He's putting in that beautiful color scheme with himself. He's also blue and yellow, which is nice. Flies to the sky. One thing that would have been nice, obviously I'm not downscaling it because of this. This is a factor that I feel like the cameraman shouldn't cut, you know? He flies to the sky, and if the cameraman caught him in the sky, and then they're like, time to nose dive, so he goes, and then you watch him descend. Oh my god, that would, just that tiny moment would upscale this animation so much more. Anyways, the colors here are super nice, like I said. The explosion here is crazy. Gamma 1 on the side. Not gonna lie, that was a little budget. Look at the way he gets blown away. It's not even like he goes or like, you know, he just kind of gets. It's like a PNG. Legends, don't be lazy now. Come on, man. Yeah, look, this is a good aspect of them incorporating the antagonist, the opponent, the person you're opposing in the animation. So they got Piccolo here holding the blow, right? Back to Gamma 2, and Piccolo's still there. That's what I want to see in an animation. It doesn't just big explosions to block out the extra work they can do. They're actually keeping the enemy on stage. Look, even when they changed the color, you thought he was going to disappear. They show you one more time to remind you that it's an actual fight. And then they show him fading away, which some animations forget, you know. And of course, no ground, but this is ahead of its time. We're not meant to see this part. Nice.
You did great, number 2.
The gleam of light, similar to Dragon Fist. Shouldn't be a hot take to say that this is a 10 out of 10. Better than Rose. I'm keeping it there.
I hope you're ready.
Alright, the other cell.
Well, that was mild.
Let's move on.
You're mine.
Good job, cameraman! Oh my god! Oh my god!
You're mine.
He said, oh, good job! Good job, cameraman! Good job! Staying at Goku's back for the angle. I think there's a cut there, but the cameraman was so smooth with it that you don't even notice there's a cut. This guy got Premiere Pro? What's he editing on? Sony Vegas? Look. Yeah. Cameraman got money now. This is nice. There's a lot of knockbacks now, but you know, that's normal. Ooh. Small moment of grit here. We've seen that in Legend Bardoc's pulsating. I think that's a very nice touch. Again. And the sweat marks got upscaled. I think it's just, we're putting this one on hold. I'm in between putting it in good because I don't think it's the same level as Legends Limited Bardock. And that's a good metric to use. But I do think it can be. We're going to have to hold that. He's going to have to hold that for now.
Here I go. Take this. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Here I go.
Oh, the cameraman got money for this one if I remember. Look at the cameraman getting paid. He said, get money. Get money, man. Get money, man. Oh my God. I love you, cameraman. Hey, he went off in this animation. He went off. He went off. He said, yeah? Yeah? This is a Kaiser Night stream. Mafia fan. He said, yeah? Yeah. That's fire. Come on, bro. That's fire, bro. This is a straight good animation. Comes in with the spin, streaming, throws the stick. He's got to cut it.
Rock, paper, scissors. Here I go.
Small detail you might have not noticed, yeah. The stick, the power pole, goes into the sky, and where he knocks DKP,
Rock, paper,
he
scissors.
knocks him into the sky as well.
Here I go.
So after he does the Kamehameha into the sky, the only thing that comes down is the power pole and DKP's dead. Woo! That's a good animation. That's a good animation there. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually a 10 out of 10. This is actually a 10 out of 10. Really looking at it and not judging the moment. You don't, like, imagine you've never seen Dragon Ball before. The yeah, it goes up and then it flows back down behind him to land in his hands. That's actually a 10. There's no flashy lights because it's OG, but wow, they compensated with the camera work. That's in the top brass. That's in the top brass, bro. When you really break it down, that's in the top brass, bro.